Shopping at the Walmart in the most convenient way. Now you stay real cool because it's time to surely pay. You get to the bank, but the cops say, whoa, who you gonna dial when they lock you down cold? Saul, you better...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is It's All Good, Man, the Better Call Saul podcast. I'm Brian, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Dave. Dave, how are you doing this evening?
Marco.
Polo.
Oh, there you are. All right, let's get this started.
Dave and I also host the Nothing Important Podcast. You can find that at www.nothingimportantpodcast.com. And real quick, before we get into it, make sure to click our Audible link, get a free ebook. It'll help us out. So, Dave.
Brian.
Season finale.
It's over.
It's over, man. 10 weeks of the show. We've been doing this podcast for like 13 weeks now.
That's right. This is lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. So, Dave, before we get into it, overall, what did you think of the season finale?
The season finale, I think it took me on a little roller coaster a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't really know where it was going to end up. Because at one point I thought it was going to be, he's going to stay in Chicago, and that's going to be the next season. Then I was like, their law firm calls him, so maybe he'll screw that up. You know he has to screw it up because he's not with them later, so I thought maybe that might be season 2. But, yeah, I wasn't really sure how it was going to wrap up. And it turns out we were right about the name drop. Wrong. Turns out we were wrong about the name drop.
We were wrong. Now that I think about it, because we've actually watched it twice now, right?
Yeah, we watched it twice.
The encore. I guess it was good, but I feel like it wasn't the best episode of the season, and like I really expected like a lot more fireworks.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I'm kind of have mixed feelings about it because it was cool and it does set it up nicely for next season. It does end with that, like, he finally breaks and becomes that criminal lawyer. But yeah, it was a lot fewer scenes. The scenes were a lot longer. It was a lot more acting based, which is cool because it did a pretty good job. Right. But it did just kind of feel like not a lot happened.
Right. Like I kept waiting for like some big explosive moment, and then it just kind of it never came. So it's a good episode, but I don't feel that it was like the best episode of the season.
Yeah, it was almost like more character development and like more of why people are the way they are. Mike had that one little snippet where he takes another job, so that's going to come up later.
This is the first time from the season that we started that I feel like it kind of like regressed, because like last week's episode was awesome.
Yeah, there was a lot going on, and like the big reveal about Chuck being the bad guy.
Right, I was like, holy shit, like if this is this awesome and it's built up to this, like the finale, because typically like season finales, because they already got a season 2, so it's not like it's not like potentially the story could have ended here.
Right, and it felt like they were leaving it to where they could have ended the season here, and the whole story here, and still made it work. But maybe it's just like, maybe that Marco's death is what obviously was the straw that broke the camel's back with Jimmy and his do the right thing. Right. I think they just might kind of failed at it. Yeah. I didn't really feel hurt when Marco died.
Yeah. It was like almost like I guess overall, before we get into the actual episode, I almost felt like it could have been like the first episode of the second season. Yeah. As opposed to the season finale of the first season.
Right. But the fact that he ends it, with it's never going to happen again, and that's, fuck this, I'm going to go make money. Like, I get it. But yeah, I just kind of feel like it didn't have the effect they were looking for on me, probably.
Okay, so let's just go through the episode real quick. So episode opens with a flashback. And they're at the bar, and they're doing the dollar bill on top of a bottle trick. Is the trick you try to smack the... Because you when we were watching it, you referenced how you'd actually seen that trick before.
Yeah, I know how that trick works.
And when the characters couldn't do it on the TV, you were like, oh, well, you just got to like karate chop it. You just got to like flick it real quick, right? And it'll go away. And I had no... I mean, I knew they were trying to do some sort of trick, but I had no idea what the hell.
No, you never did that like in grade school and shit? Yeah.
No. Yeah. Right. So like,
back then it was $1. Yeah, you'd use $1, and if I can knock this with keeping the quarters, I get to keep the $1.
Like, because I've seen it where you put like a playing card and then you flick the playing card out from underneath it. Okay. Kind of like, You know, kind of like the opposite of like pulling a tablecloth off a table or something.
Right.
But the thing about that is like it was a flashback and it showed two younger dudes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, raise your hand if you thought that was Jimmy and Chuck.
Right. Well, I didn't think it was Chuck, but
hand.
I totally thought it was Jimmy.
Yeah.
I actually thought why they were doing it because like the skinnier kid did most of the talking because he was trying to do the trick to the bigger kid.
Right.
So I actually thought that was like Jimmy doing his first scam. Yeah, okay. And I was like, oh, okay, well that's because we talked about time jumps before. Like I was like, wow, like they're going way the hell back, way the hell back.
Well, I got the impression that they were like in it together. Like he wasn't scamming the other kid. Like both those kids were trying to figure this trick out. Mm-hmm. That's what I got.
Like they were trying to like figure out like how they could use that to like scam other people.
No, they're just trying to figure the trick out.
Gotcha.
Like somebody else was the one in charge of the trick, and those two were the marks together. That's how I thought it was going down. That's why I thought it was Jimmy and Chuck, just being kids. And then Jimmy says, "This is how you scam people," you know.
Yeah.
Kind of planted the seed in Jimmy's head about slipping Jimmy.
Then Jimmy walks in to say bye to Marco, and that's when we see that it isn't Jimmy and Marco or Jimmy and Chuck.
Right.
It's just like a set piece, like the two kids like working on their little bar trick.
Yeah.
And
I think Marco was kind of like giving them a little guidance on how to do that bar trick, you know.
Right, like maybe he saw a little bit of himself in those kids. Like maybe that's how he started, was like doing those little tricks, and he figured out how he could use it to like make like bar bets and shit.
Like the magician showing a little kid to pick the card trick.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So Jimmy walks in and makes the announcement that he's waiting, or Chuck's waiting outside.
Yep.
And he's going to head to Albuquerque because he had just gotten out of.
He just beat the rap. He said he didn't beat the rap. Chuck got him off. So he owes Chuck this. Chuck's going to give him a new fresh start in the mailroom at a law firm.
Right, and Marco tried to keep him.
Yeah, he was basically kind of saying like, I'm more family to you than Chuck is. Chuck's a douchebag. Mm-hmm. You know, me and you think alike. We're in this together. So he's kind of slighted by that.
Right, like he feels that he's more of, because I guess even in the flashback, even though it's addressed later in the episode, but obviously back then Marco knew that Chuck was a prick.
Yeah, I think that was when when Jimmy's like, I want to grow up, and then Marco's like, why? People don't change. Chuck didn't change. Chuck's not going to change. You're not going to change. Right. I thought that was a pretty poignant line to throw in there.
That was. And then, of course, we always like talking about the opening credits, and the opening credits it was just a mug. It was the world's greatest lawyer mug falling off a desk and crashing on the floor.
Symbolism.
Yeah. And we kind of made some jokes of that because, like I said, we watched it twice, and we kind of made some jokes about that, and like you kind of jokingly said like it symbolizes like his life. What was it? Comes crashing down,
down, or falling apart, or shattering. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah. Any way you want to phrase those.
Not too bad of a stretch. So I guess that's the season finale. What's your favorite opening?
Well, I know what yours is.
What's mine?
Tarantula. Tarantula. My favorite opening, I think, is the Lawyer Up Caddy.
The Lawyer Up Caddy?
Yeah. Because it's the one. I think it's probably the only one I can't figure out what the symbolism is. I think it was like the second or third episode.
Long time ago.
It was the back of the caddy with the Lawyer Up license plate. And
that was foreshadowing.
Right.
Foreshadowing. As the show opened back up, we're in the lobby of HHM, and Saul's sitting on the bench waiting for his turn to talk to Howie.
Yeah, they have a little...
Kim walks down, sees him, basically, what the hell are you doing here? And he's there because he
well, that's when he explains to Kim that he's handing over the case. He's taking her advice because she came in and said, hand over the case. Mm-hmm. And they have the discussion, like, why didn't you tell me?
Right. And she says, I didn't want you hating your brother.
Right.
So Chuck's put a lot of people in really bad positions. And I wonder if that'll come in play later on the series, like maybe next season. Like, because like Hamlin even says, when him and Jimmy are talking, like Hamlin says, like, look, he's very important to the law firm. And he even makes the statement, like, I always liked you.
Right.
But he was basically just taking all the brunt for Chuck. And Chuck's put like a few people in the position to be kind of like the weird bad guys, just because Chuck's been manipulating everybody.
Yeah.
And using the whole like, oh, he's my brother, so like I can't be the bad guy. So everybody else kind of be the bad guy for me.
Yeah, which it's complicated. I like the whole complicated relationships thing. I guess I don't watch a whole lot of dramas, so I guess it's a standard thing. But because like Chuck does care about Jimmy.
Right.
Later in the episode, it really shows, how much he does like regret what happened or how much he wants to get back on good terms with him. But yeah, for the meantime, he's just kind of pitting a bunch of people against each other and, like you said, putting him in awkward situations.
Yeah, and Jimmy and Howie make amends. Jimmy's like, sorry, I called you a pig fucker.
Yeah. Bury the hatchet. That's what I put down.
Right, absolutely. Bury the hatchet. Hamlin was kind of understood because of the position that he was put in.
Yeah. But the fact that Jimmy would still go shopping every day.
Yeah, I was just going to say that scene ended great because even though he's obviously hurt, Jimmy still very much so cares about his brother because he said in the previous episode, like, hey, you're fucking on your own. Mm-hmm. But he's not on his own because he's kind of making sure that Howie has somebody who could take care of the duties that Jimmy used to do for him.
Right. And then they're out in the garage, and that's where the Dalai Lama's got nothing on me.
Yeah. Also, in that scene, we got a little bit more idea of the timeline because, Howie was actually impressed with Jimmy that he had been taking care of his brother for over a year.
Right.
Like,
well, but it was the fact that he knew Jimmy's been taking care of him for over a year. He didn't know it was every day.
Right.
The level of commitment Jimmy has had for the last year. Right,
which could be absolutely exhausting, and everything that Jimmy did. So I think...
I can't even feed myself every day for you.
So I think, I think that he was just expressing aloud, like, wow, like this dude really cares. Yeah. How he respects Jimmy. Mm-hmm. And then like, wow, Chuck is a huge dick to
this
Jimmy.
Swing, this swing is kind of weird. You mentioned before about, we were talking off the recording about how they hadn't originally planned for Chuck to be the bad guy.
Right.
And now
that's according to the Better Call Saul Insider podcast with Kelly Dixon and Vince Gilligan and some of the writers and such. And they stated that up until episode 7, they didn't really think that Chuck was going to be the bad guy, but the character and the way that Michael McKean plays it kind of wrote itself.
Right. And that swing, especially with this last episode, it does feel like a late swing, but not
like a gotcha kind of like surprise,
but not really, but not really like that. Not a big gotcha or a twist. Mm-hmm. It just kind of swung that direction, like they kind of like a curveball, as opposed to
like setting
slider.
It up. Slider,
or maybe it's a slider as opposed to a curveball. Yeah, it wasn't a big gotcha thing, but it definitely was a change over the course of the season.
And then we're back to playing bingo.
That's right.
Jimmy's trying to kind of picking up the pieces.
Attack of the Killer Bees, apparently.
Attack of the Killer Bees. Jimmy's trying to keep some sort of normalcy, right? Like kind of go about his daily business. Like I got the impression that the character is just like, okay, that sucked, but I can get through this. Like just keep pushing forward.
He's still doing elder law, so he's still maintaining his contact.
Everything's normal. It's like a half-baked. Everything's cool. I'm not going to freak out. Like everything's fine.
And actually, that's a Jerry Maguire reference that Half-Baked was referencing.
Oh, man. Okay, well, I missed that one. I've never seen Jerry Maguire. I suck.
So
I know.
He quits in the beginning.
So he plays bingo. He owes 64. All right, that's cool. N32, that's cool. Then it's like
Is
B2.
that the Nintendo system before the N64?
It was like halfway in between.
Okay. 32-bit system.
Then it's B2 and B4. So it's kind of weird, 2 B's in a row. What are the chances of that?
Right.
And then he hits B12 and he starts to kind of break a little bit. He's like, B, like betrayal. And he kind of hits on that a little bit. Then, the screen does the crazy shaky thing.
You start getting the little cracks.
Right, yeah. Like it's starting to get to him. And then B7, like brother. Like, breaking up a little bit more. Then it's B5 and B5, this B thing is really starting to tick me off. And then he pulls another B, and he didn't announce the number, but on the board, my wife Kristen noticed was flashing it was a B2, but in bingo, it's impossible to get the same letter twice in one game, so it's just kind of a funny continuity error there.
Yes. Good catch.
So good job, Kristen. But the repetitive beats, I was trying to think of something, maybe somebody a little bit deeper than I, or maybe Dave, you have something on why the bees set him off, or maybe it was just like the obnoxious repetition of the same number. Like, what are the fucking chances? Like, seriously, like we can't move past this.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of being stuck on something, and the fact that he just wants a different letter, and it's just not happening.
Right. So like his frustration's starting to get the best of him. Like,
right.
Like he's annoyed and kind of getting frustrated. Same thing over and over and over. And then as he gets more and more upset about that, that's when he goes off on the story about what a Chicago sunroof is.
We finally get our confirmation.
And when that actually happened, when they referenced that in the show, remember, you and I had no idea what the hell that was.
No, we asked some listeners.
Yeah.
Told us what a couple theories.
Right. They sent us a couple definitions from like Urban Dictionary and stuff. And and one of them was that, well, the two main ones that we had was, one, you place your dick on the head of an opposing team's fan.
Chicago sunroof. And the other one was like where yuppies park their car and you piss through the window or sunroof of their car, and then that's a Chicago sunroof. As our generation is apt to do.
Indeed.
Bars.
But you called it differently.
I was yelling dookie.
Right, you went straight for the shit joke.
Everybody else in the room was like, no, it's piss. He's pissing in it. And I was like, no, he shat.
He shat in it. And it turns out that
he shat in it. And apparently he had an audience.
I also think he was getting frustrated with all the bees because he wanted to get it the fuck over with. And since it just kept being like...
Oh, yeah, because you're not going to get...
Nobody was winning, and then it was like constant.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, there wasn't anything else on the board. So, like, the chances of somebody winning on all bees is, like, slim to none as it is.
Right.
So I think he was just also getting frustrated that it was, like, all on one line. And, like, that nobody was fucking winning. And he was like, doesn't anybody winning? Like, nobody's winning. Nobody has the bingo. Like, he was just getting annoyed that nobody had won.
Oh, look at that.
Also, I just came up with this theory out of my own, totally out of the blue, about how he was probably getting frustrated because nobody was winning the game, and he just wanted the game to get over with, and he was just stuck because his whole life is just stuck. He's always just spinning his wheels. He's not going anywhere, and that game is a metaphor for his life.
You know what, Dave? That's very insightful.
I know, it totally just... I thought of that all on my own. I did not steal that from your wife. The same excuse I used in court last week.
So going back to the Chicago sunroof, we were laughing because we were like, Dave was right. He shat through the sunroof, but
Give him
then
a little soft serve.
A little soft serve, right? But then we found out a lot about Jimmy McGill.
Yeah.
He had a friend. Was it a friend or a partner? Chet.
He just said it was a guy.
A guy named Chet.
That owed him money.
Yep. Slept with his ex-wife. Well, it wasn't his ex-wife at the time, but now.
Which is, I don't think that it's been established that he had been married.
No,
right?
that's the first time I've heard of it. Yeah. So he apparently has a wife, and hopefully she'll come into play down the road. We didn't know that he had a wife or he previously been married.
Yeah. That was kind of an interesting reveal.
Right. And Chet, it could have been minor charges. Vandalism, misdemeanor, all that good stuff. But good old Chet fucked his wife and fucked him over because he had connections and because there was children in the back seat.
In the car because of the tinted windows, he couldn't see into the back seat.
Right, which he believes is illegal in the state of Illinois.
For those of you that don't live in Illinois, yeah, the cops like to fuck with you if your windows are too tinted. Retarded.
It's so great that he went off on that tangent and just pretty much laid it all on the table for her. He was
just snapping, just purging.
Yeah, just fuck
purging.
it. Almost sabotaging himself.
Oh yeah, totally.
Even though he had a good thing going, he's like, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah.
This just gonna get out
just
there.
These goddamn bees. Bees just won't go away.
Maybe in a way he felt that his elderly clientele were the only people he could vent to.
Well, yeah, they won't remember anyway.
And so as a consolation prize for listening to him, he's just like, well, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah. Kitty cat notebooks for everybody.
Yeah, this game's not going to end. I'm going to end it.
Yeah. Mic drop.
Yeah, he just... Jimmy out. And then more feedback. We get it. It's a microphone. Sound guy talking. So what I did is I went through and I looked at all the B numbers and tried to see if there's any interesting little Easter egg in here. And it's probably just a coincidence that like every vitamin has a B in front of it. Because all these are definitely vitamins. But like you have the B12 bomber. The B2 bomber, sorry. And then B4. And then the B12 shot. So I'm just thinking bomber B4 shot. Off the bomber shot. So then we're in Chicago. Jimmy shows up in Chicago. And he orders a couple old styles.
I like how if that made sense, that would have been the most beautiful segue ever, but it didn't at all. All right, we're keeping that in because that was just too damn funny to me.
I have no idea how to put all that together.
So we're back in present day Cicero.
Yes.
And he's at the fucking bar 10 years later. He's been in Albuquerque 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. I don't know if we ever officially discussed it, but I know we were both wondering exactly how long has Jimmy been in Albuquerque?
10 years.
A decade.
I would have never thought that. With the way that the show played out, I would have thought it maybe been like a year or two.
No, it had to be several years because he got a law degree.
That's right.
But I was thinking 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. You know?
10 years.
10.
Never came. Well, and then we learned something else, that their mother passed away 3 years previous to the scene.
Right.
He never came back. He never even called up old Marco.
No. He kind of...
Which says a lot for Jimmy's character, because he was making good on his word. He was going to work in the mailroom with his brother.
He was on the straight and narrow.
Straight and narrow. Not going to screw stuff up. If he calls Marco, he's going to, he's going to start fucking shit up.
He's going to slip back into his old ways.
Exactly.
Hey-o.
Nice. Hey-o. Very nice. Very nice.
But, yeah, I thought that was interesting.
And I don't think we've heard a peep about his mother either.
No, or no other family.
We've learned a lot about Jimmy McGill in this episode.
So I guess it wasn't such a bad episode after all.
I mean, it was deep, but it just wasn't what... it's just not how I saw
like
a season finale going down.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, why all of this character development going into the second season?
Right.
At the end of the first season, when we're going to have to wait. I guess that's part of the, making us wait.
Oh, just kidding. Cut that out.
I'm going to cut everything except for the part where you said, just kidding, cut that out.
But as he reconnects with Marco,
and they decide they're going to start scamming people again, and they start with the Kennedy coin.
The Kennedy coin,
which I'm not going to lie, I went and looked it up.
Yeah, what'd you find?
And he faces left, just like every other coin.
Yeah, so like it pretty much just relied on the gullibility of whatever the mark is to believe that there's some big difference.
Exactly.
It was a pretty elaborate, good story. I mean, it was a really good, elaborate story.
But if I'm the guy at the bar from across the way, I'm not gonna do what that guy did. I'm gonna be like, let that guy talk because he's probably full of shit.
Yeah,
because I don't know, and we didn't have cell phones back then to look up that kind of information like I just did.
Right. And he picked up the old school landline, and you could hear like the operator.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Like it, yeah.
Yeah.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and dial again.
Not that clever of a joke, but in context, I thought it was pretty well done.
Well, it's probably not that clever of a joke if you're under like 20 years old and watching the show, but
no, I mean that joke's been done in several shows with the fake line. Then like as they hang it up, you can hear a dial tone or something.
Gotcha. And we talked before about the relapse, right? Like I brought up that like Chuck will probably relapse back into his ways with the electromagnetic, whatever the hell that is.
Yes,
but this is where Jimmy McGill kind of relapses back into Slippin' Jimmy, and then they have this crazy montage of all these scams that they're pulling, like the Nigerian prince and the national Irish lottery tickets held up in customs. I did one of the best ones I caught on too was Stradivarius. Like, remember?
I didn't catch that. Was that supposed to be a Stradivarius?
Yeah, the violin. Yeah, that was actually a pretty common. I remember that back in the day, that was a pretty common scam, especially in the early days of Craigslist and eBay and all that. It was a pretty common scam where people would just claim that this violin that they have is a Stradivarius, which is, of course, is a really like
old classic. Yeah,
yeah. And people would fall for it and
dollars.
pay thousands of dollars, and they'd be like, "No, I can't sell this. It's been in my family for generations or whatever the hell it is." And so I kind of chuckled at that a bit.
Okay, I got to throw this out there too. You noticed that the cinematography behind that montage is reminiscent of other, like a classic sequence with the neon lights coming in from the background and stuff. So if any of our listeners know what that's from, it's actually going to be really hard to look up.
It's been referenced in a ton of shows. Like
the only thing
Simpsons.
I can think of is I know a Simpsons reference to it. I could probably look it up through. But if anybody knows what that is, please let us know because we're seriously curious about that.
Right, there's been 4 or 5 Simpson references to that. I know Futurama did a reference to it.
Yeah,
it seems like any show where they have somebody sulking and kind of walking down the street down on
it's
their
very
luck.
noir.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be like a black, and then you just see because a lot of the humor is the funny signs that pop up in the background, relative to the scene.
Right.
So if anybody knows what exactly that was referencing, we sure like to know because we couldn't quite pinpoint it, other than stuff we've watched that has actually referenced.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, and we've always what are they referencing? What is that? Yeah. So let us know, please.
So as it goes into the next scene, we're treated, through the eyes of Jimmy, and we see a redhead staring down at him. Mm-hmm. And that happened just after the commercial break and just as they were pulling all the scams, the montage of all the scams coming in and out.
Right.
And when that started, I was like, holy shit. They got caught up in their scams. I thought somebody took them hostage and this chick was with a guy that, I thought we were going to be treated as something maybe they pulled one on the wrong person and the wrong, kind of kind of at the beginning, right? Remember, he went to Tuco's house because he kind of got caught up because a scam went awry. I thought maybe a scam went awry, but no, it just turns out he convinced this drunk redhead chick that he was Kevin Costner.
Right. Which the character has admitted, I honestly don't remember if it's Breaking Bad or in this show, that he's done this before.
Right. And then, she's pissed off that it isn't Kevin Costner. So she calls her friend, and then Meghan Trainor comes out of the room because she apparently hooked up with Marco.
She thought he was the manager.
And what I loved about that is the redhead was just you're not Kevin Costner. You're not Kevin Costner. And Jimmy is totally flippant about it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, whatever. You want a mimosa? If you build it, you will come, or something like that.
He said, if you build it, I will come.
Yeah, if you build it, I will come. But I loved it when Meghan Trainor was walking up the stairs and she's just like, bye. She was just super sweet.
Well, she was just happy to get laid.
Yeah, well, she was like, so you mean that's not his manager?
Yeah.
He said he was going to give me his card.
So naive.
So awesome. That was such a great scene.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
And it's so great watching it because they even said, look around you. Would Kevin Costner be pretty much living in the basement?
Making fun of a goddamn air mattress. In the kitchen. This is my manager's house. And that's when we find out that he'd been in town for a week.
Yeah.
Because we weren't sure how long he'd been in town. Because I honestly, my first thought was they pulled all those scams in one night.
Right. And montage, time lapse, just kind of going through it, kind of in a way sowing their oats, right? Kind of get back into it and
the last hurrah kind of a thing.
Right, and then Saul checks his messages and he has 15 messages from his actual clients, and it kind of snaps him back into reality a little bit, even though Chuck kind of fucked him over and he's having fun pulling these scams and he's kind of back into his old ways. Mm-hmm. I took it as when he listens to the voice messages, reality sets in and he's like, you know what? These people actually depend on me.
Yeah, I actually have clients that I should probably stay in contact with.
I need to knock it the fuck off, and I should probably go back to Albuquerque, but Marco doesn't want that.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to be a standpipe fitter guy or whatever the hell he was.
A standpiper.
A standpiper, not a sandpiper, a standpiper. But it's revealed that Marco is genuinely happy when he's maybe he gets off on the rush of getting one over on people.
It's scamming people with Jimmy. He said, I don't need the money, but I need this.
Right. Like this is who I am pretty much. Like let's, I'm having an awesome week. Let's go out and do this. I still have one of these fake ass Rolexes left. I can't get any more because the guy who gave he was deported.
Yeah.
And
it takes some coercing. It takes a lot of coercing, but Jimmy finally agrees one last time.
One more time. So then it goes to a scene that was very reminiscent of the first time that we saw Sliff and Jimmy, and the first time that
when he drops the Saul Goodman.
When he drops the Saul Goodman, same thing, same alley. Marco is standing there waiting for the mark, and
the howling.
The howling was the cue. Like it was the like, hey, we're on our way.
Right. Time to act like you're passed out.
Right. They find the wall. There's like $1,000. It looks like it's gonna go the same way as last time. There was even a fucking stick next to the dumpster, and because of that, you and I actually talked a little bit while it was going on. We're like, is this the scene that they showed several episodes ago? Like the same exact scene.
Right. Was it a flash forward to the scene?
Because how many? I mean, I get it, it's garbage, but it seems to be a lot of sticks laying on that dumpster, right? Like,
well, he probably brings it with him and plants the stick.
Oh, good point.
So Jimmy always pokes him with the stick.
He can poke him, but it goes awry because he pokes him and he's non-responsive. And they kind of set that up because earlier in the episode and just before this happened, Marco was coughing.
Yeah, he'd be coughing
really heavily and being a rotund gentleman, has a heart attack, falls on the ground. Jimmy doesn't know that, but pokes him with the stick and is waiting for them to respond, and I think everybody watching it was like, oh, he's going to call butthole again. It's going to be hilarious. But he was actually unconscious because it's insinuated that he had a heart attack. And before that happened, I was like, oh, well, he's dead for real this time.
Right, yeah, you called that one.
I just figured, really, like, what could be the shittiest thing that could happen in this scenario? Oh, well, it's like crying wolf, like eventually he's going to get eaten by wolves and nobody's going to listen because, same thing. Like, you pull that scam one too many times, it's only a matter of time before,
It's only a matter of time before he actually dies in it.
Yeah, actually fucking dies. And then where I thought it was going when the mark actually took off with the money, I thought that was going to come back and bite him in the ass somehow, or Marco was trying to prove some sort of point.
Oh, like double-crossing him.
Like double-crossed him, like that was Marco's buddy that took off with the money, and he was going to double-cross Jimmy in some half-assed attempt to try to get him to stay in Cicero.
When you think about it, he was trying to teach Jimmy a lesson by having somebody steal his own money.
Right, but it's not about the money, though. It's about the lesson.
Oh, the lesson, yeah. It's like having, that's why you don't have a man with one arm teach your kids lessons.
Arrested Development, such a great show.
Yes.
But no, he was dying and he got to have his one last...
Is that last word that every character gets. Like
every fucking character.
If when I die, can somebody film me? That means I get a last word.
Yeah. you wake up, you say something poignant.
Yes.
And then that's at least they didn't do at least he died pretty naturally. Because I think we talked, it was either on this or Nothing Important, like talked about before, where the person's like, and I've always loved your mother.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the very first conversation we had as a podcast.
Yeah,
we were still setting up the microphones. And we started talking about these stupid ass death scenes and dramas.
Right.
Yeah, full circle.
So I'm glad. Exactly. So I'm glad that it was at least kind of natural because I when I was watching it, I was like cringing. I'm like, oh, they're gonna do the dumbass thing where the guy like gives a really heavy sigh as his like soul is escaping his body or whatever the fuck that's supposed to signify.
Yeah.
But no, he just kind of went out, and then Jimmy starts freaking out because his buddy's dead.
Yeah. Is like the one person that has his back and that wants him to be around.
Mm-hmm. But now I have a new thing to complain about that. He calls 911. Marco starts talking. He hangs up the phone. Then when Marco actually dies a few seconds later, he starts yelling for help. Like, call 911. Like, you just hit fucking redial. Like, the whole time, I was like, dude, hit redial. Yeah. Call the phone. Like, you have the phone in your hand.
It's not as dramatic that way.
No, that's true. That's true. Maybe that one's on Jimmy, though, man. All you had to do was hit Redoubt. Maybe you could have helped Marco out.
No, I don't think he would have made it till the end. Was got there. You gotta remember this. You got to deal with Chicago traffic.
Oh, yeah. Then, confirming he's dead. It shows him.
They're at the funeral.
Jimmy's outside of the funeral with the government agent from The Incredibles.
Mr. Incredible's liaison from
whatever it was. Getting too old for this, Bob. I can't keep covering for you. That looked exactly like that. It did fucking
look
guy.
Like that guy. That's funny.
But and then I thought he was going to pull one last scheme because that guy asked
with the ring.
Yeah, asked Jimmy, and he's like, "Oh, I bet that's worth a couple bills or whatever the hell he said." And I thought, like, for old time's sake, Jimmy McGill was going to try to scam that guy.
Yeah, but then I thought that ring was going to be, because I even asked you, I was like, did Saul Goodman wear a ring? Like, that was kind of a sign of things changing. Now he's got jewelry. Now he's got accessories.
Right. Or maybe it's like a passing
of
the torch,
the passing
right?
of the torch. That's more accurate because when he starts rubbing the ring.
Right. It's just kind of symbolic, like, hey, we had a lot of fun doing this, and I know, I know you're trying to go straight with your life, but, in my memory.
That's a link to who he really is.
Yeah.
Flipping Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, here's the baton, and it just like a little pinky ring, which is all class, by the way. I don't care what anybody says. There is never an inappropriate time to wear a pinky ring as a man.
Yeah, you do not look like that you have at least 12 underlings underneath you, or you run books.
Funny thing is that, like, that guy, what was the guy's name? Marco was huge. So, like, where the fuck did it fit on him if it
okay, well, your nickname is going to be Continuity Kristen.
Yeah. Did that record?
True. I hope so. I hope what she just did, because
that's what I'm saying. That was pretty good.
I'll bump it up to where you can hear what she says. But yeah, the ring thing. So yeah, that was definitely some symbology.
As Jimmy's outside the church mourning, smoking a bum cigarette, and he gets a call from Kim, who says, "Hey, this case, your case is getting too big for even Hamlin McGill. They're going to have to bring in another law firm, which is Davis and Maine."
Which I think is the intersection that my guitar got stolen at in Albuquerque. Unfortunately, they're based out of Santa Fe, so that doesn't really work.
Well, yeah. we'll go with it, though. But the great news is because through all of his trials and tribulations, Jimmy has been so genuinely good with his elder law and actually helping his clients, that as Hamlin McGill was speaking to the clients to build their case, they've had nothing but great things to say about old Jimmy McGill, which got the attention of Davis and Maine, and they want to talk to Jimmy and meet with him and possibly put him on a partnership track because it's such a huge case.
Right, yeah, and it's his case.
Right, so it's like, all right, redemption, right? Like he's going to win one,
right.
Because like every time this entire season, every time he's come close to winning one, it's been pulled out from underneath him.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go. Like he got his case back. Like that was
pulled
awesome.
Out like, from underneath him like $1 underneath a stack of quarters.
Exactly. Nice, Dave.
It's like Sisyphus. Every time he gets to the peak, the boulder just rolls back on down the hill.
Absolutely. Just can't win, right?
Just can't win.
But it looks like he's going to get one. So looks like because now he becomes his own worst enemy. Yeah. He goes back to the courthouse to meet with them, Thursday, 11 a.m. at the courthouse. Jimmy pulls in. I don't even think he says anything to Mike. Doesn't he just kind of blow through the gate somehow? He's just like, well, fuck it. Like Mike, which by the way, I guess Mike, Mike was a little preoccupied, right?
A little preoccupied, yeah.
He was preoccupied, and we'll get to that in a second. But he blows in, parks his car, and this is his moment. This is when everything he's been working for, this is where it's going to pay off. Yeah, he got $20,000 from Hamlin McGill, but now everything he wanted to be a legitimate lawyer working a big-ass case.
Right.
It was all right there.
Davis, Maine, and McGill.
Davis, Maine.
Said he's dreaming about it.
Yeah, dreaming about it. And then he stops, rubs the ring, and decides, this isn't me.
This is not who I am.
It's not who I am. It's not what I'm going to do. So he skips the meeting, gives up everything that he worked for, gives it up, turns back, gets in a shitty little Nissan or whatever fucking car is, drives out.
With a head full of steam.
With a head full of steam, drives out, talks to Mike, and pretty much says, we had $1.6 million. And
we were set.
Why the hell did we give that up?
Then Mike says, I believe it was you who said something about doing the right thing.
Absolutely. And then Jimmy says, that'll never happen again. And without saying Saul Goodman or anything like that, he kind of drives off into the sunset, I guess, for lack of better exposition.
Singing Smoke on the Water.
Smoke on the Water, yeah.
And that, especially for the listener that pointed out all the correlations with the songs and the scenes, like even the scene with him and even the scene with Jimmy and Marco, the song in the background was totally lyrically, like, kind of matched the theme that was going on The Only One Who Cares About You and stuff. Go research what Smoke on the Water is about. I'm not going to explain this one to you, but it does fit what's going on.
Absolutely. And real quick, before we sign off, Dave, Mike, we kind of danced around this so we could just go back to Mike. Mike's back at his toll booth, and it appears that he's taking another job.
Yeah, it's like the end of a conversation. They're wrapping up a conversation about another gig. Absolutely.
They never said who for.
No, they didn't even say what it was, right?
No. It was just like, basically it was like, oh, you got a job for me? Okay, I can do that. And then that's when Saul interrupted him on his way out. So real quick, what do you think the job is?
Well, the last one was protection. It's probably going to be like another protection thing because that's kind of been his route so far.
Right, but maybe with like a higher end client, so to speak.
You know what? I'm thinking that Nacho's going to continue to be involved in Mike's upcoming gigs. I think that's how they're going to bring Nacho and Tuco. Maybe even Gus can come in through that direction. You know, stuff like that.
So it's set up. It's
open ended.
Yeah, I mean, it's set up the second season, right? Like, it's set up, hey, we know Jimmy's determined. He's no longer going to pretty much be by straight and narrow. Like, he's
the criminal lawyer now.
He's the criminal lawyer, and Mike is going to take on more work. And then it just kind of ended.
Yeah. It ended in a way that even if they haven't written page 1 of the next season, they can make it work.
Absolutely.
They can do anything they want to. The job that Mike took is open-ended. Where Jimmy goes from here is open-ended. So in that respect, it's a good way to end the season because I already want to see the next episode.
Right. It just wasn't quite the fireworks that we were expected. Like, as far as season finales go, it was pretty mellow, but it put us in a good spot to start a whole next season.
Yeah, and I just keep saying that the moment happened without the words behind it. They didn't drop Better Call Saul. They didn't drop It's All Good, Man. But the development happened.
Yeah, so and I've said before, I'm a fan of the deliberate pace. I was just kind of hoping for something a little bit more like...
Well, they would seem to be ramping up.
Yeah, it seemed to be ramping up, and it was pretty mellow as far as a season finale goes. But I think you and I, we're going to get together. We'll put out an episode next week. We're gonna develop our thoughts a little bit. We'll get together same time next week, just for consistency's sake.
Right.
And we'll talk about where we think it goes from here, and we'll lay out our plans for the off season. In the meantime, make sure you send us your predictions and ideas on our Facebook, on Twitter, at it'sallgoodman.com. Make sure to keep checking out our buddy Travis in Albuquerque with It's All Good Man on location. Make sure to check out our buddies at calltosaul.com.
Call us idiots, call us geniuses, whatever, just call us.
And with that,
Ben, bring us home.
You better go, Saul.
Hello, David and Brian. Have you missed me? I've just upgraded to a new Shure condenser microphone. It's certainly a step up from the Apple mic headset. Anyway, it's unfortunately difficult for me to give a timely response to each episode, since you guys record the podcast before I've even had a chance to download the episode, let alone watch it, and, of course, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just one of the pitfalls of living on the other side of the globe, from the best country in the world,
North Korea.
I want to firstly go back a couple of weeks to the episode Rico. Not only did I think it was an awesome episode, it really got me laughing out loud with Odenkirk's comedic prowess. I thought the Sandpiper case was really well handled, and I particularly like how Jimmy really seemed to be primarily doing it to help remunerate his clients, to give them the justice they deserve, more than for his own selfish reasons. I feel this point was amplified when Jimmy allowed an elderly client to have her fee reduced, and when Chuck suggested $20 million, and Jimmy's face was one of horror. I don't really have any questions about this. I just wanted to say my thoughts on this particular episode. Regarding episode 9, entitled Pimento, I really like how well written the episode was. I didn't see the twist coming where Chuck had sabotaged Jimmy's career, although once it was revealed, I understood his motives more clearly. I'm really looking forward to the season finale and hearing your commentary on it. Alright, cheers guys, thanks.